Welcome to the Alsandor Law Podcast, your go-to resource for demystifying family law with experience and empathy by your side. Hosted by attorney Cheryl Alsandor, founder and lead attorney at the Alsandor Law Firm and a board-certified family law specialist. Together with attorney Cheryl, delve into the intricate world of divorce, child custody, and more, sharing valuable insights, expert interviews, and real-life stories to support you on your family's legal journey. No matter what challenges come your way, our team is here to guide you every step of the way. Join us and let us help you find clarity amidst the legal maze, paving the way for a brighter future.
Welcome to the Alsandor Family Law Podcast, a podcast where we discuss important aspects of family law and how they impact you. I'm Cheryl Alsandor, Houston Board Certified Family Law Attorney. Whether you're dealing with a divorce, child custody, or any other family law matter, this podcast is designed to give you the information you need to navigate the legal system confidently. And with me today, I have...
I'm Brandy Spike. I'm here to just kind of help co-host the podcast.
All right. So, Brandy, today we're going to be diving into a critical topic that often makes or breaks a case, and that's honesty. Specifically, we're going to be talking about why telling your lawyer the truth is absolutely essential in family law cases. So grab a cup of coffee, get comfortable, and let's get started. So family law cases are inherently emotional, they're complex. Whether you're going through a divorce, you're fighting for custody, or you're dealing with a protective order, these situations can be overwhelming. And in the midst of all of this, it's crucial to remember that your lawyer is your advocate. Our sole purpose is to represent your best interest. But there's a catch. We can only do that effectively if we know the whole truth. So let's break down today why honesty is so important. First, you need to understand that honesty helps us to strategize appropriately. So if your lawyer knows all the facts, good or bad, we can prepare for any potential issues that might arise. So, I don't want to be surprised in court. No lawyer wants to be surprised in court. So a lot of surprises often come up because the client has withheld information. Oftentimes I find clients withhold information because of shame, embarrassment. It's negative information, and it's kind of the mindset of, if I don't say anything about it, maybe nobody will ever know. But, for instance, if you've had an affair and you're seeking custody, it's better for us to know up front so we can address the issue proactively than rather having it sprung on us in trial. And then I'm sitting there like a deer in headlights, unable to represent you. So also the legal process, it relies heavily on credibility. And judges are really good at sensing when someone is telling the truth and when they're not. So if you're lying or if you're withholding information, it's going to come out later. And then when it does, it's going to damage your credibility. A judge is going to think, well, if they're lying about this thing, what other things have they lied about? Okay. And so it can affect your whole case as a whole, your ability to make decisions for your children, the division of your property. So everything is at stake if your credibility is at issue. So again, second reason to tell the truth. Now, here are some other examples of where honesty or the lack of credibility might be important. So, imagine a client who has failed to disclose a significant asset during the divorce proceedings. And usually this comes up with investment accounts, brokerage accounts, or even retirement accounts. And so the person thought by not disclosing it, by hiding it, no one would know about it. They could keep it to themselves. But after, discovery is done, or maybe some documents were subpoenaed, then it comes to the light. And so hiding an account like that and then having someone else sort of dig it out for you can cause a judge to, think less of your case and less of your facts. And if the other side had to do a lot of digging, and they had to spend a lot of money to find that account. They had to, issue subpoenas, maybe take some depositions. It can really hurt your case. And you might have to pay some attorney's fees and some discovery fees back. So honesty is really the best policy. Also, when it comes to personal issues, I find people really, really want to hide personal issues such as, drug addictions, criminal history, because who wants to remember those things, right? Do you want to remember an addiction you had? Do you want to remember, being arrested for a DUI? But those types of personal issues can affect your credibility, not just your credibility, but your ability as a parent, your fitness as a parent. So, if you're on the witness stand and the other lawyer is asking you about a DUI case that you had while the child was in the car, and I'm your lawyer and I don't know about it, I'm scrambling. You're on the witness stand. I can't even ask you questions about it. So you don't want to put yourself in that predicament. You don't want to put your lawyer in that predicament. You want to disclose all your dirty laundry to your lawyer. Why do you want to do that? So that your lawyer can come up with a strategy to deal with it. Yeah, maybe you had a DUI and the child was in the car, but hey, maybe it was related to some prescription medication you took. Okay. Or you mixed it with a drink and you didn't realize the effect. Your lawyer wants to deal with those things before you get in the courtroom, not when you're on the witness stand. Okay. And so, that's just an example. There are a couple of examples of why full transparency is important. Even if you are ashamed of it, or even if you think it's irrelevant, or even if you hope it's going to not come up, you need to disclose it. It's going to help your case. So now that we've discussed the importance of honesty, let's talk about building an important, trusting relationship with your attorney. It's very important to build a trusting relationship with your lawyer. Attorney client relationships are built on trust. And so you need to have a lawyer that you're comfortable with. You need to feel confident in your lawyer, and you need to know that your lawyer has your best interest at heart. Okay. And then me as a lawyer, we lawyers, we want to make sure and know that you're trusting us and you're giving us all the information that's relevant, all the information that you have. Preparing for lawsuits and working on legal cases, it can be daunting. It's bad enough you're going through a lawsuit and now you've got to work on it. I get it. And I know, the average client hates it. You don't want to think about it. You just want to get through it. But you're going to do yourself a favor and you're going to get the best outcome you can if you communicate with your lawyer. Okay. And most of you are paying for your lawyers. And so you want to get the most value you can for your legal representation. So give it up. Give it up to your lawyer. Just have that heart to heart conversation. If you don't want to do it on the phone or via Zoom, you say, look, I want to have a face to face with you. I need to tell you something. And be sure to tell your lawyer the truth. Now, so we're talking about open communication. That's really what we're talking about. And so, put the shame aside. If you have fears or concerns about how this negative thing in your past might affect your case, discuss it early on. We're not going to judge you. Our job is to represent you. Our job is to guide you through the process. And I'm saying our job, and I'm talking about, a good ethical lawyer, which I strive to be. And a lot of lawyers are out here and we strive to be good lawyers. So you want a good lawyer who's going to have your back. And, our job is to guide you through the process. And that includes addressing any worries you might have. So another key aspect of telling your lawyer the truth and being transparent with your lawyer is confidentiality. Okay, so your lawyer should have your back, and that includes keeping everything you say confidential. Okay, actually all of what you say is protected by the attorney-client privilege. That means, barring a few legal exceptions, we cannot disclose what you share with anyone. And legal exceptions might be things like I'm going to go kill my, soon to be ex-spouse tonight. I've got a gun. I'm going over there. Okay. Things like that. If you're going to harm someone, even harm yourself, a prudent lawyer is going to take some action and try to stop death or injury to another human being. But absent that, we want you to speak confidentially to us. We want you to know that that conversation you're having with us is protected, it's privileged. We're not going to share it with anyone. Okay. So, and it won't be used against you in the legal process. So I've said a lot. Any questions so far?
I mean, you explain things really well, and it seems a lot like, lawyers kind of almost go by the same rules that, say, a therapist or a medical professional would, where they're not going to judge you for anything that you're saying. You've got the confidentiality with the exceptions of harm. I mean, definitely sounds like the spiel that I get from doctors all the time, so.
And you're correct. I mean, it's protected information and it's for the same reasons. It's so that we can help you with those deep, intimate issues, whether it's related to your mental health or, in our case, your legal health. You've got to be able to trust your lawyer just like you trust your doctor or your therapist. That's great. So before we wrap up, let's talk about, your first meeting with your family law attorney. Now, in our office, the first real meeting is going to be what we call the post-hire meeting. Yes, we will have something like a consultation or a strategy session when we first meet. But that meeting is just enough to find out, what your case is about and whether or not our firm can help you. And then we'll give some strategies and some options there. But when we really, really, really dig in and start going into the facts and the history and talking about witnesses and documents, that's what we call our post-hire meeting. And so in our law firm, we'll let people know, hey, you've got a post-hire meeting coming up. You've hired us. And so what we want you to do to really be able to have that trusting, confidential relationship, you want to bring to that post-hire meeting, any relevant documents. So gather your text messages, gather your financial statements, emails, anything that might pertain to your case so that those items can be discussed in your meeting with your lawyer. Text messages these days are invaluable. A lot of times we text things and we don't know where those text messages are going to go. We think they're just going to stay on our phone because no one sees litigation or a lawsuit coming up. But I tell you, as every time I get ready for a hearing or trial, we were getting ready for some hearings last night, and the client says, hey, I have some text messages where she told me this and told me how great of a dad I was, and now she's going to try to say that I shouldn't have custody. Now, those are documents that you want to share with your lawyer. And then on the other hand, if you lost your temper, you said some things, you used some 4 or 5, 7-letter words, we need to know about those too, so that we can protect you. We want to know the good, the bad. We want to know your questions. So make sure you make all of those documents and those things that are red flags available to your lawyer when you have that first meeting. Or if you forget about it, just make sure you give it to your lawyer as soon as you remember it, even if it's after the first meeting. And then be prepared to discuss your goals. Now, in our office, chances are you would have had a strategy session already with one of the lawyers. And so we already have an idea of what your goals are. But normally in a strategy session, it's not enough time to really go into detail. So when you have that post-hire meeting or any subsequent meeting after you've hired your lawyer, make sure you discuss your goals. And if your goals change, which they often do after your case starts because you get new information, be sure to discuss your new goals, okay? And then your lawyer will normally ask you, why do you have that goal? I know I will, and I'm going to want to find out evidence that you have to support you winning and getting that goal. So if it's gaining custody of your children, if it's protecting your assets, getting spousal support, if we as your lawyer know what you want, it's going to help us to tailor our approach to your case. And then finally, be honest with yourself in addition to being honest with us. If there are things you're worried about, like past mistakes, sensitive issues, write them down, bring them up at our first meeting, and just keep in mind that your family lawyer, we're there to help you not to judge you, to represent you. That's the judge's job, to judge you. But we want to protect you, and we want to get you the most favorable outcome we can in the courtroom. So to sum everything up, honesty in your family law case is truly the best policy. Your lawyer is your advocate. We can only do our job effectively if we know the whole truth. So, withholding information, while it might feel good in the short term, or being less truthful if you're lying, I always tell clients, don't lie. Don't lie for me. Don't lie for your case. If you do that, it can really lead to some serious consequences, including losing credibility and potentially damaging your case. So, if you're in the Houston area and you're facing a family law issue, reach out to our firm for a strategy session. Let's work together to navigate your lawsuit with integrity and transparency. So, thank you for joining this episode of the Alsandor Family Law Podcast. If you found this information to be helpful, please subscribe and leave a review, and also share it with other people who you think may benefit from this information. So, until next time, just remember, honesty with your lawyer is not just advisable, it's absolutely essential. Thank you. I'm Cheryl Alsandor, and take care.
Thank you for listening to the Alsandor Law Podcast. If you need expert legal representation for matters about family law, the Houston Family Law Team at the Alsandor Law Firm is here to help. Visit alsandorlaw.com to learn more. Don't forget to subscribe, rate, or review our show and share it with others who might benefit from the conversations. Join us next week as we continue to explore crucial family law topics. Stay resilient and know that we're committed to supporting you every step of your journey.